Right, we're up and running now. So, hello and welcome back to our See You Next Thursday podcast. Today we have Seamus and Sport Billy. So, how are you, Seamus?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
It's good to have you back. And Billy, how about you, mate?
Yeah, I'm really good. Merseyside's doing really well at the moment. Uh, both of us absolutely awful, but besides the football, doing really well.
Aye, yeah, the football's not going good, is it?
No, no.
No, when you talk strictly talking football, it's more like a misery side, not mercy side.
Yeah.
I like it, Deeps. I like that.
It's alright for you, just because you're actually playing well for once. After all
So
those
I've
years of
heard.
I don't have to
misery.
play great. They're doing okay. They're getting results better than what they're playing, actually, but there you go.
Oh, but I was under the impression that we've been playing much better than before.
Okay, but they're still not right. Still needs sorting out. Deep for me, Deeps. I've watched a lot of the United games, and to be fair, the results have been better than what they've actually played. But good luck to them. They are showing a bit of gumption and a bit of attitude that they've got now. But I still think they're a few players short of being a challenging side.
Yeah, I agree with that. But like, I don't watch the games. Like, I'm not allowed to because of the whole superstition thing. But whenever I watch the highlights, the clips, and whatever, like, it's it's very easy to see the difference between this team and the teams we've had before for what feels like almost a decade. Like, we play as
Yeah,
a team. We play as a team. That's a very good thing to notice.
Definitely
yeah,
a
yeah.
much
That's fair
better
enough,
side
Deeps.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah, we play as a team.
yeah.
We're a much more cohesive unit now than before.
Just moved
And
on
I
to
just
some
want to
Yeah,
say
I
that
agree
I
with
just
that.
want to say it right now. Imagine what Ten Hag can do in 3 seasons when he's already achieved so much in 10 days, 10 games, not days.
Oh, yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely
it's
a
it's very
massive
positive
improvement.
signs.
Yeah,
Yeah, positive signs.
just got to keep
It is
backing
Trish
it up.
right, a real improvement. Right, what's our first thing on the agenda, Trish?
Well, I think we're going to have to talk about first thing. It's got to be the Pablo Mari stabbing, hasn't it? I,
Yeah, what a disgrace that was.
it's just a real
You know,
shock.
it's not as big a shock as you'd think. I don't think because Italian fans
But it
have
wasn't a
got a
football fan.
reputation of this sort of thing.
It wasn't a football fan,
Sorry,
mate. It wasn't anything to do with football.
no, no,
Yeah, I know that's like normal. They're fans because the Rome fans, their way of greeting
yeah,
opposing fans is to stab them in the buttock, in the
yeah,
arsehole,
yeah, it is, yeah.
because they're
Yeah,
arseholes.
I'm just saying that when they said there's been a stabbing and Roma were due to play Arsenal,
Yeah,
I just thought, what's new? They come to Liverpool and cause mayhem, and they're just a horrible, horrible set of supporters, aren't they? A lot of the teams are everywhere. To be honest with you, it's going back to the 80s.
yeah, fans in general going back. We were talking about this earlier. Some of the stories that have been up this week, the sort of racist abuse and the chant, just all. I
Yeah,
mean, there's the Munich chants. They're still going on. Yeah, you've got the Heysel, the Hillsborough chant. You've got that, like at the weekend. I was saying to Seamus earlier about the was it the Plymouth one where they were chanting about a fan that had got brain damage in an attack by another team's, an opposing set of fans, like, and then he died a
yeah,
few years, and they were chanting about him, about this guy who died, a fan at the club died, and then you have Peterborough United, was it? No, no, Plymouth fans that were chanting about Stansfield, who's playing for Exeter City, their local rivals. Obviously, they were chanting about Adam Stansfield, who died of cancer a few years ago now, 2010 I think it was. He died of cancer. He was 31. His son is now playing for Exeter now. Is his dad's old team on loan from Fulham. Like, and there's been quite a lot of publicity about how nice it is he's got to wear the shirt because they'd retired his dad's shirt. I mean, he died of cancer. He was only 30.
What's up with these people?
And then they're chanting about his dad
What's
while
up with
he's
these
playing.
people? That's disgusting, isn't it? Absolutely disgusting. Do you think it's more society than football?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because I think I do.
But
there's a certain thing in society where they just think they can say what they want, and to be honest, to be fair, the internet doesn't help.
No,
all these keyboard warriors starting things up, and
that is a big
it's
part.
just nastiness, isn't it? Yeah, it's nastiness.
Part of the problem.
Anyway, going back to Pablo, that was a nasty thing what happened to him, and I thought it was a nice tribute from the Arsenal players to bring his shirt on at the start of the game, next game, and yeah, but that's a terrible thing to happen, not just to a footballer, to anyone, but it's more highlighted because it's a footballer.
It's not just stabbed in the back, it's what he saw as well. He was saying he saw someone stabbed in the throat, in front, having his throat cut in front of him and stuff. It's like, oh. that's going to be a nightmare for your life, surely. That's got to affect you.
It certainly would, yeah. Yeah, it's the world isn't a very good place at the moment, is it, with all these wars and hunger and everything else going on. It's symptomatic of a very broken society in every country, I'd say. In every country. What's just happened in India as well, bridge collapses and all that. It's just some really bad stuff going on in the world at the moment, and it's a shame. And I suppose football's an escape from it, if you can put aside these incidents. That's what I'd say, though.
It is sad.
So do you know much about Pablo, Tris? Because I've never really seen him. I knew he was just Arsenal, but I've never really seen him play. Has he played much for Arsenal?
He was out of favour, and that's why he went out on loan. He's to whoever it.
Okay, I think I can help out a little bit.
Monza.
Pablo Mari was
Go on,
he was at Man City for quite a long time. Never really got in the team. So when what's his name? Arteta took over at Arsenal. Like they were in a bit of a crisis at centre back, I think. So he brought him in from Brazil. Might have been Flamengo, I think, off the top of my head.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, he was out in Brazil. Then he joined Arsenal, played a few games. Then I think got injured. I think he got injured. Then once all the other first team players came in, he was out of favor. Last season he went to Udinese, I think, on loan. Might have been just for the second half of the season, and then this season he joined the newly promoted team Monza.
Yeah, they got a lot of
And
money.
I think Monza is
by,
Berlusconi.
Yes, that's him.
Yeah, and sadly, it's not even like he went into some place that's nasty or dangerous or whatever. He went to the supermarket.
Yeah, it was a car full.
Yeah.
Like it could happen to any one of us, and it's not like someone targeted him. Yeah, it wasn't like he was targeted. He went to a public place, and then some psychopath, I would say, decided to just.
Yeah, it's just a random nut job.
Went
around stabbing people.
Yeah.
I mean, shocking.
Stabbed 5 people, I think. Killed 1.
I think it was 6, wasn't it? And 1 died.
Yeah, 5 people and killed 1, I think.
Oh right, yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah,
well, at least he's lucky to not be there.
Yeah, he's out for 2 months, isn't he? So he'll be back after the World Cup by the looks of it, which is good. But he was saying it was just, it's only because he's got like decent muscle mass that he's alive, because it missed anything vital because of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very bad instance for anyone who's football because we're talking about him. But it's a bad instance all round. Both things like that happen in the world today, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's going to affect him mentally, though, isn't it? So, he might never be the same
Yeah,
player
it
again.
is, yeah.
Even if he physically recovers, he might
Oh,
never
it is.
mentally recover.
Yeah, very much so, Chris, yeah. It's a very good point.
It may
Yeah,
affect.
I can recall us like not the same incident, but like when you said like he may not recover the same, like what happened with Joseph Ilicic. He was like on fire before the whole pandemic thing, and then like when there was lockdown, people were like there was a breakout in Italy. Like I know he had some other personal issues as well, but then like people were dying and all that. Then like it said that he got reminded of the horrendous things he saw in his country when he was a child
Yeah,
with the
that's right. Yeah.
wars
Yeah.
and outbreaks, and has never been the same player ever since.
Yeah, exactly. It's the mental side of the game is a huge part of it. So,
Yeah.
it's such a
See,
shame.
you've
Well,
got to remember
hopefully,
that I know they're footballers, but they're human beings as well, aren't they?
Yeah,
And they're not immune to the effects that it has on everyone who sees something like that or is involved in it. And it's just a very sorry state of affairs, actually.
yeah, like just like because they get paid a lot more doesn't mean they are naturally immune to normal human things.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Though
Deeps,
people
that's
seem
what I'm
to think
trying to
they
say.
are, and that's quite sad.
The
Yeah,
people
they do, yeah.
expect they should be like that is the expectation. Like, come on, you're being paid thousands of pounds every week, so you shouldn't be injured. You
Counts,
shouldn't be
yeah,
tired. You shouldn't be out of form. Let
yeah.
alone the other emotional
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
Yeah, it's people
yeah,
just expect things and forget that, like, you're not you're paying for a human being, not a
Robot.
yes.
yeah.
That's the word I was looking for. Robot.
Mm. It actually affects people, I think, young players, when they get all the stick from people at the
Yeah,
games when they're obviously trying their best. I'm not saying that it's in any way with Pablo, it's not the same thing. But, the effect it has on people of getting abuse or, online abuse as well for young kids, it's just not right, is it? They're just young kids trying to make the way. And I know everyone talks about the millions they're on and the millionaires at the age of 17, 16. But it makes no difference. They're still people. And, all the people should think about that when they're giving abuse out at games and on social media about people. And it's a very sad state for me. Like.
yeah, it's not right. Really isn't right. But while we're on the subject of injuries and that and mental side of the game, just thinking, we could talk about. I think we should talk about the World Cup and do we think that's because obviously there's a lot of players getting injured and going to miss out. The likes of Pogba, Kante, Chilwell possibly.
Rich James is a
Yeah,
possibility.
Yeah,
Now
Rich
Diogo
James,
Son
Jota,
yeah.
Heung-min's just been ruled out because he's having to have eye
Timo
surgery.
Werner,
Yeah, I mean there's loads of them.
Alexander Isak is also a doubt, I think.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of talk on the lip because obviously Van Dijk's been horrible form this season. Absolutely, he's been terrible this season. Really has. He just hasn't looked himself at all. Like, and there's been a lot of talk of whether whether they're wondering whether he's just afraid to get injured with the World Cup coming up. Doesn't want to
Yeah,
miss it because it's probably going to be his last chance to play in a World Cup. Like,
And also his first
yeah,
time.
yeah.
yeah, so I mean,
Let's not
because he
forget it's
missed
his
the last
first
one,
time.
didn't he?
Yeah, he wasn't in the scheme
Yeah.
of things when the whole Dutch team started preparing for the 2014 World Cup. They didn't qualify for the 18 one, so it's gonna
Yeah,
be his first appearance in a finals of
yeah. It's his only chance to play in one, probably, possibly. So
Maybe he can make it to the next round, but who knows? They may not qualify.
yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things. It's a big risk.
Do you think that's been a bearing on his form, Trish? You'd know better than anyone, I'd imagine. Is
I
that a
I
symptom of his form?
I think well, I mean, I put it down to he's. I mean, he hasn't looked right since he come back from the injury against after Pickford injured him. He hasn't looked right. And players are now starting to target him, and I just think he's just not recovered mentally from that. And so this added on top, I think could well, it's not the reason, but I think it might be just adding to it, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
He just, some players,
Yeah.
he was just, nobody wanted nobody wanted to go head to head with him. None of the attackers wanted to. They always played on his teammate, but now they're actually playing on him, and he's making mistakes. He's not reading the game well. So
Yeah.
is that it's definitely mentally his focus is not right. So yeah, possibly that's part of it. Yeah, I think it must be an issue because it's so close now.
Yeah. You don't want to lose out on the World Cup, as you say.
Yeah, and
So
all
you might
these
be right.
and
It
all
is
these
part of it.
you're watching all these players go down injured and being ruled out of it. All these the ones that are gonna go it must be in the back of their mind. It's the ones that are
Yeah.
it's the ones that don't have a definite place that'll be trying harder, and the ones who do have a certain place, it must it must make them think shit, back off a bit, like don't want to get myself hurt.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that indeed.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
what other players are out, Trish, for the World Cup that you know of?
oh god, we did a big list, didn't we, Seamus, before we did this
Okay,
while we were
Pogba.
talking.
I will
Pogba,
just
yeah,
rattle through the name. I'll just rattle through the name. Pogba is a definitely out. Kante is a
Yeah, he is
definite as
missing
well.
out. Yeah.
Like, and we
and
can say whatever we want about Pogba and him, but like Pogba and Kante were the
yeah,
World Cup winning midfield for France.
last time
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I think
I don't
Luis
think we've
Diaz.
ever doubted his ability.
No, like we can say like he's this that flash in the pan, uh, all for no knickers whatever, but like he was a part of the World Cup winning team. Reece James
Yeah.
I think Reece James is a definite as well, or at least like
Yeah,
he's
he's not going.
seriously in doubt. Diego Jota as well. Jota is missing.
Oh
Alexander
yeah,
Isak
Jota.
shouldn't be back before the World Cup. I think either he has a thigh issue. Like Pedro Neto,
I'm
but
just,
I don't think how much of a chance he
oh,
would have. Boubacar Kamara at Aston Villa is
Yeah,
also
good.
out for 2022. Like he might have been a good option for France to take
Yeah, he would have
instead of
been the one.
Pogba and
He was the
Kante
one
as
that were
well.
replacing Kante, basically. You would have thought,
Yeah,
and now
and I think Chris can help us with this one. But there's a certain guy with what I don't know plays for Liverpool. Never seen him actually play for Liverpool. There's a guy like from Brazil plays in midfield. What is his name? Like, he's on loan.
oh
Arsenal
yeah,
Miller.
ah,
Yeah, Arsenal Miller. He's also out. Oh,
yeah.
if he's out for the World Cup, then he's not gonna be playing for Liverpool in 2022.
No, he won't
What's
play
the point
before.
of the
He's
loan?
been ruled
Oh,
out until New Year. Yeah,
oh, it's a pointless loan. Like,
he's played one game, and then he only played a few minutes, and he never got fully fit. It's just.
yeah, yeah.
That's why you
Like,
take a player like that on loan rather than sign them on a permanent deal, isn't it?
but he's no
yeah.
good. I'm telling you, he's no good. Especially in the Premier League. I would be really surprised if he was any decent for Liverpool. And Jesus Corona, like, what a name! What a name to start with. Yeah, no, he's a Mexican winger,
Yes,
right,
yeah.
right back. plays for Sevilla, recently joined them, or was it last season from Porto? Yeah, but like
Oh,
he would be a very important member of the Mexican team, I guess. I think Romelu Lukaku is a doubt as well. Like I saw he got injured
just
before
so many. There's
the
like literally is a massive list of them. I saw it written down the other day, and I was just like,
yeah, Kyle Walker. Kyle
Kyle Walker.
Walker.
Yes, you haven't mentioned him
He's
yet.
a doubt. Paulo Dybala is a doubt. Di Maria is a doubt. Calvin Phillips is a doubt. Ronald Araujo is a doubt. Rafa Varane is a doubt.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
many guys like
Tom
even if yeah
Davis.
yeah best midfielder. Yeah, but even if these guys do make it, like
Small
there is a
chance.
chance they wouldn't be fully recovered, fully fit. It's one thing being fit and
Yeah.
another thing being match fit. Chilwell is a doubt
Yeah. Yeah.
as well,
Yeah, Chilwell.
I think.
Yeah, yeah, he got injured.
Yes,
He got
yeah.
injured the other
Yeah.
day.
And it's
Sinisterra from
yesterday.
Leeds
Yeah.
is a
Or
doubt.
the night before.
Yeah, he's just gone out injured as well, hasn't he, Sinistra?
Yeah,
And it is literally half that. It's going to be a bit of an odd World Cup, to be honest, because so many of them are missing it.
yeah. Son
Yeah.
is a doubt. I think
Yeah, he just fractured his eye socket.
Martial is a doubt still. Not saying he would make the team, but he's still out injured. Like so many guys.
It's going to be a real.
And I imagine a lot will come back injured as well because you've got a massive amount of games within a month of
Yeah, yeah, and also
playing
like
in the heat.
if
And
these guys like who
and
I've
the
listed,
expectation.
go on,
Yeah, I
go on.
imagine a lot of players will come back injured because, as I say, it's a very busy schedule, and they're going to have to fit games in as well when they come back. I think there's going to be a lot more injuries, and it wouldn't surprise me if it affected the league in all countries because I don't think it's going to be an easy World Cup at all. You're playing in blazing heat. I know you're getting breaks every now and,
No, it
now
won't
and
be
again.
blazing heat, mate. Not at that time.
You don't think it'll be blazing heat?
No, it'll be mid
Oh,
mid
they are
twenties at
trouble
most.
or 3 heat.
Mid 20s at most. That's why they're playing it in the winter.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
What do we say?
but
Like they're
another
going to
thing
have
to
to have
consider,
breaks,
like
water breaks.
It won't be cold. It'll be
Or
hot,
it's-
but it won't be any hotter than it gets in the. It'll be no hot. Certainly won't be hotter than it gets in the summer in the UK. It won't be that hot. The very hottest.
All right. It's okay.
So it'll be
yeah,
hot
also
enough.
with the players like who are doubts, like who knows if they just rush their recovery and actually get an even bigger injury issue after that. There is a chance. Players just rushing back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what would worry me is players trying to force their way back, early, like because Pogba didn't have surgery initially, did he? So he's up.
Yeah, he
He's
probably would have. Yeah, he probably would have been fit by the World Cup if he actually gone through with the surgery in August instead of now,
Yeah,
like 1 2 months
the
later.
Juve fans are furious about it because he's not played for them.
Yeah, like even if it wasn't for World Cup, he would still actually be fit for half the season for Juventus, if nothing else.
But yeah, because he
Yeah.
chose not to have the surgery, so he
Yeah,
could
I
have
think Marco Reus is a doubt as well, by the way.
Marco Reus. Yes, he's definitely. I
Yeah.
think he's been ruled out, hasn't he? I think they were told he was. Well, they thought he was going to be ruled out anyway. Not so.
Yeah, that is the issue. Like they thought Kyle Walker was ruled out. He hasn't ruled himself out.
Yeah,
That is what I'm saying. Like players might just like for Walker, for example, just like Van Dijk might think this might be his last World Cup.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, mustn't it? Because he's must be getting on. Now he must be 30, hasn't he?
No, I think he's 32
Yeah.
off the top of my head. That would be my guess.
So yeah, he's not going to make another one. Not because his main skill, his main thing is his pace, isn't it? And that's not going to be around when he's 36.
Yeah, and like it's not like
No.
England are struggling for right backs either.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I think Southgate would like a couple more. He does seem to like playing as many as he can possibly fit into a team,
Yeah.
doesn't he?
Yeah, but maybe something might be with the reason. The reason might be because there isn't enough left backs.
Well, even when he had left backs, he
Yeah.
wouldn't pick them. That's the thing that got me. He just wouldn't pick them.
Yeah, but England only have like what, three decent left backs.
Yeah, but you know you've got to fit your team to suit what you've got, haven't you? You know what I mean? You pick what you've got. You can't piss with somebody else's cock, can you? You've got, you know, at least you know you can't complain just because you haven't got as many. You haven't got 300 left backs. Have you never heard that expression before?
No, I never heard
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
You broke me. All my dad jokes and you finally broke me.
It's better than the joke you told me earlier, that's for sure. Oh, that was bad. It's so bad. We're not gonna even go there. Anyway, should we move on? Because I don't know if there's anything more we can talk about
Go
there.
ahead, Trish. Yeah, go on, mate.
Should we talk about I think we should talk about some of these new managers that are coming in, shouldn't we? Unai Emery at
Yeah,
Villa,
go on, Trish.
Michael Carrick at Middlesbrough, Lopetegui potentially at Wolves. What do we think of these? What do you think? I think Seamus is probably the one.
No, I think we have to give you about 5 minutes to talk about the legend that is Steven Gerrard, the manager.
The manager, yeah.
Yeah, a tribute.
Yeah, he's got no tactical acumen at all, and he was very reliant. The problem he's got is, see, he was a good coach at Liverpool. He did really well in the coaching side of things, but he decided he didn't want to coach. He wanted to be a manager, and I mean an old school manager. So he didn't go on the training ground, and that's when it all started to go wrong. For him at Rangers as well, the team, the performances dipped immediately. At Rangers, you could see it, and then he went to Villa, and it got even worse for him once he lost Michael Beale, because he was the one taking the training and that. It's just, see, this is the problem. He thinks he's an old school manager, and he's just not. He might have done a good job as a coach if he'd just stayed in coaching. He did some good stuff with with the youngsters, like some individual coaching, but yeah, you've got to be on the training ground if you're a head coach like of a team. You've got to be there on the training ground with the players. You've got to watch them because they've got to be. They're not going to perform if they're not working hard. If they know you're not even looking at them to see whether you're going to pick them or not. I don't understand it. I know a lot of managers have done it in the past. Yeah, Redknapp was one. He was not a training ground manager. He'd only turn up when there was TV cameras around. Alex Ferguson was another. He didn't spend a lot of time on the training ground. Rarely went on the training ground. But
No, he was a manager.
Yeah, but his number two. I mean, Paisley didn't spend a lot of time on the training ground. Mostly in the office. Shankly as well spent a lot of time in the office. That was in the old days, but these days, they've not got the paperwork and all that they had to do then. So there's no reason to be a manager. It should be,
It was a strange one after the results they had. After the results they had, he got sacked and he went 4-0 the next game. Is that bad man management? Did that come across as? Because you can't just go from losing 3 or 4 games on the trot, you haven't won a game for 4 or 5 games, and then they went 4-0 on the day he gets sacked, the day first game back when he'd been sacked.
But come on, Billy. Let's not gloss over the fact that next game they lost 4-0 again.
Yeah,
it was a 4-0 victory and then 4-0 loss as well.
Yeah, that's a fair point, Dave.
No, I think I've been very clear with my opinions on Gerrard as a manager. Like I'm not convinced by him, but he has one or two mitigating circumstances as well. Like Diego Carlos got injured, Boubacar Kamara is injured. Like those were big players he bought in. Like he lost Michael Beale as well, like Chris mentioned. But I think he is a hopeless manager.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think he's very good now.
I can't see where he can go from here, to be honest.
England, maybe after Southgate kissed the boot.
He's not a yes man, though, is it? You're not enough for yes man, I don't think.
Oh, he's a Scouser, I forgot.
I don't think he's got the ability to be even discussed as the next England manager, but you never know with the England setup.
No, but 5, 6 years ago, I would have said the Southgate. So who knows with English FA? No,
Yeah.
but I think one of the issues with being a big name player is you cannot just be a coach. You
Yeah,
have to be the manager. Everybody wants you to be the manager as well, even if the player himself doesn't fancy it. You can either be a pundit or a manager. You can't just be a coach. You can't just be a assistant coach, first team coach, youth team coach.
yeah, because he's too big a
Yeah.
profile, I think.
Yeah, that
Which is a
is.
shame. 'Cause I think
Yeah,
he's
yeah, it
really.
is the same. It is the same to be honest, because even if the
You see, he
guys
had a
want it, they won't
walkover
be
at
allowed to
Rangers,
be
didn't
that.
he?
Hmm?
He had a walkover at Rangers because, to be honest with you, there's only one other team who can really in the mix next, and that's Celtic.
Yeah,
So he had a lot of easy games, so it was a very easy baptism
and
for him to go into management
it must be
Scotland.
pointed out that they Celtic also lost Brendan Rodgers and Neil Lennon, who's even worse a manager than Gerrard. So he was in charge. So he did have a helping hand really to win the title. So,
Yeah,
and once they had
Yeah,
yeah,
let's
of
not.
once
course
they
you
put
do,
a
yeah.
decent manager in place in Postecoglou, so that the Celtic were gonna win it because Gerrard wasn't good enough, which is why he jumped ship so quickly,
No,
in my
Yeah, but
opinion.
the worst he could
just
finish was
let's
second.
not take everything away from him. He won Rangers their first
Yeah, but
league
like I
title
said,
in God knows how
Neil
many
Lennon
years.
was in
But yeah,
charge. So would he have
Mhm.
won it against it if they'd have had a decent manager? Because that's all they were competing against is Celtic at the end of the day.
yeah, we never know who, like it's a would he situation, but at least he has
Yeah, he's
one
got it on his
trophy to.
CV.
Yeah. He has a league title on his CV. That's
Speaking of ex-players, as managers though, I think we should maybe talk about Xavi quickly while we're on the
oh
subject.
yeah, at Barcelona.
There's a lot of talk
Firstly,
of
guys, like
Arteta.
I want to ask you, like I didn't know we were talking about Barcelona. I want to ask you, what is your opinion on the team as a whole? Like, should they be expected to perform better? Just the team. Let's forget about the finances.
Yes, they. I mean, they've got a team there that should be challenging Real Madrid. I mean,
Yeah, but for now they are neck and neck. Real Madrid and Barcelona. Right now they are neck and neck in the league.
yeah, but I was going to say, and going forward, they should be able to compete in Europe as well and not get dumped out of the Champions League.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
yeah. Like, should they be judged on the league form to begin with? Because at the end of the day, it's a two-horse race over there in Spain as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with how
Yeah, it
Atleti
is,
have
yeah.
been.
Yeah, most teams just stand aside for Real Madrid and Barcelona. So they're not
Yeah, they
really.
roll over, yeah, they
Yeah,
do.
that's what I was trying to say. Roll over. So it's not really a competition for them, really. So, yeah,
No.
Yeah, what do you think of the team? They have I would think they have a good goalkeeper. Ter Stegen is a good keeper.
yeah, solid enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
good for the way they play.
Like you can be a decent guy, but to be very suited. Like I don't think Ederson is a world keeper in isolation.
but he's
But when you
perfect.
put it, when you put him in Manchester, Pep Guardiola's Manchester City team, he's probably the best in the world for the system.
Yeah, I still think they'd be better with Allison.
Yeah, but like okay, top two, like
Yeah,
except for Allison
there's
and
only
Neuer.
Allison. Yeah, there's only like a couple of.
Allison and Neuer.
Oh no, yeah,
Those
yeah,
are the only two guys you can name who can do a good job,
Yeah.
good enough or better than him.
yeah.
Yeah, similar with Ter Stegen. Like I don't think there are many better options for them.
No,
Right back, I don't know who plays right back for them.
right back is
Yeah, I know. It's either Hector Bellerin or Sergi Roberto.
yes, that's it, Bellerin. I'm trying to think. I was
Those
going
are
to
the
say
guys.
Arsenal one, yeah, but I
Yeah,
couldn't think of his name. So yeah,
because Dest is out on loan. It's a position they can upgrade, but okay, fine. They have a decent, like they spent like what 60 odd million on Kunde. I
for
know he's been out injured, but yeah,
yeah, for
he's
me, I think they've lost. Oh, that's another one that's out for the World Cup, isn't it? Isn't there they Ecuador? What's his name?
yeah, Ronald Araujo,
Yeah, he's their star man,
Uruguay,
star defender. Uruguay, that's it. What did I say?
Yeah, I
Ecuador.
don't know, yeah.
Ecuador.
I even knew I meant Uruguay. I don't know why I said Ecuador. Yeah, yeah, him out. I mean, he's a big miss because he's quality. He is one of the better. Yeah, but
Yeah, but like like Jordi Alba is a competent backup. They have a new like young guy at left back. Their midfield is still very solid.
and
They
they've got
have
players.
on paper they have an amazing attack.
Yeah, players like Fatty coming back to full fitness.
Fatty's a good player.
Ansu Fati's fabulous.
Yeah, they have Rafinha
Yeah.
who's very good. Like we've seen him in the Premier League, be very good. They have like Lewandowski. Like no need to say anything else.
Yeah,
He can carry an
Yeah.
attack on himself as well.
yeah,
Like Dembele has found form. Like Ferran Torres is a good player as well. And they have like Pedri. They have like the Golden Boy winner Gavi
yeah.
in midfield. Like
Yeah, but do they
how are they
deserve the
so
Golden
hopeless
Boy?
in the Champions League?
I think
You wonder, don't you?
I
You
think
really do.
Xavi's just struggling with the step up.
Yeah, because like if you like ask me to be objective, to be non-biased, to be neutral, and suggest players for Barcelona, I wouldn't be like, oh, this position jumps out for you guys to go after this player. This position is very weak. Like although they've mostly like crippled their future finances,
Yeah,
but they built a very good team for the here and now,
it should be
and
done better.
they're basically out of Champions League now already.
Yeah, there's no excuse for how bad they've been. To be honest.
No.
So is it all on
No, I suppose,
Xavi's foot? Does it does the axe fall on him? Does he take the blame?
yeah.
I think
I,
part of
s-
I
I
think the
suppose the
problem
book stops at him, doesn't it? It really does.
it does, but I think more of the problem is the way they treated the players. Do you know what I mean? The way they bullied players
In what
to,
respect, sir?
the way they've tried to force out
De Jong,
De Jong and
Braithwaite, like is
Braithwaite.
it
Yeah,
Braithwaite?
they
Yeah,
forced him out and things like that. I think they've left the squad in a very unsettled state. It's not a good way to treat. You've got
Yeah.
to treat players with respect. You've got to show them loyalty as well. Um,
hmm.
I just think I think that was a huge mistake.
Yeah,
Like
but
you said, they've got good players, but they haven't been getting the results, especially in Europe. And so for me, it stops at Zabi, you know what I mean? So, uh, you know, you've got to look at the manager and his backroom staff. Why they haven't competed in Europe, really, haven't they? For me,
They've been very poor in Europe, which normally you'd expect that Europe to be where they do their best work.
yeah, especially with the style of football they have, like come on.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, they're well suited to it. But They've not
Yeah,
been
like
good.
I was like recently I was going through their team maze. Yeah, their are down in the toilet, but they managed to somehow build a very competent side. They should be doing much better.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Deeps. Yeah, very much so.
They certainly shouldn't have got
Should
knocked
at
out.
least be making the finals.
Yeah, they should be past the groups. They should get through the group stage. When they didn't,
Yeah,
that's some.
Yeah, you should be. Yeah, you should get past the group stages. After that, it's a knockout situation.
Yeah, anything can
You
happen.
can get unlucky. You can get like one or two unfortunate calls, maybe a red card, whatever. But you have to get out from the group. Yeah, granted they had a relatively difficult group, but it's not like Inter Milan are an inconquerable side or Bayern have been faultless either. Like they've been very good in the Champions League, Bayern, but they've had their own issues. Inter Milan have had their own issues. Still, they like to get knocked out of Champions League with a game to spare is very poor. I think.
Yeah, for a team like
yeah,
that, then they have to be better. Yeah, you just can't. Not when you're them. They're one of the few. Them and Real Madrid. The money they've spent on their teams, you have to do better.
Especially when you've reached your future for the free present.
Exactly. That's the big thing. They've put so much into this team that not making it is a huge thing.
yeah.
So maybe do we
Do you
just
think
go
it puts them
talking
under
about guys?
pressure?
I don't think he's under pressure. Like everybody is like in awe of him still. Like most of the people are like deflecting the blame to us many other things, but not Xavi yet.
Well, the rumours are starting to, but they're starting to link them with Arteta now already and stuff. So maybe he is under
Yeah,
pressure.
I seen that. Yeah,
They don't mess about. This is the thing in Spain. Sometimes they just they will jump before it far too early.
Yeah, but he's Xavi.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Still
you would
Xavi.
you'd think his legendary status would save him.
No, like if his name was, let's say, whatever, like random, like Santiago Munez, then he would already be getting the boot. But he's Xavi, so
Yeah,
he will get. Yeah, he
Yeah,
will get
yeah.
the leeway.
but you see, say that about Santiago Muniz. He was in the film Goal at Newcastle. They've only signed a player called Santiago Muniz. This
No, Santiago Munoz.
yeah, he's played
It's
for them.
slightly different, yeah.
Yeah, but he's played for them. I mean, it's just like how that's really bizarre, isn't it? How do you find a player with that name?
Maybe they were looking out for that name
I know.
specifically.
That's what you wonder, isn't it? Did they actually specifically look for a player? Think, oh God, he's called almost the same. We'll just sign him. We won't bother looking at him. Doesn't matter if he's crap. We'll have him.
Yeah,
Just imagine the
at
publicity.
least we will. Yeah, we will get the publicity. We will get the PR.
Yeah, it's got to have been weird a bit.
Yeah, while we're talking about Giants taking a fall, do we talk about the teams exiting the Champions League already? The big names,
Yes, yeah, I think
because Barca aren't alone.
Yeah.
Barcelona aren't alone,
yeah. I mean, they're not even alone. in this-
Who expected Juve to fall?
and Juve's group was even easier on paper. Yeah, I know football isn't
Yeah.
played on paper, but on paper the group was very easy. And guess what? Their group was actually topped by Benfica, not even PSG. How did that happen?
Yeah.
But wow,
You have Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe, and you can't even win group in the Champions League.
that's poor, isn't it? That is embarrassing. And they looked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they've been having a lot of
No,
trouble
but-
now, haven't they? PSG. And I know.
Yeah, but you cannot blame their manager. Their manager
No.
is like faultless. Come on.
No, But everyone's gonna put the blame on Mbappe for some reason because they've been and they even running the clubs running a smear campaign against him and stuff. It's bizarre.
I'm surprised it's not already Mbappe's fault that Barcelona are out of the Champions.
Oh, he's probably got the blame. It'll be some or a witch doctor Pogba used.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he's probably cursed them. That's why Juve. No, I bet you that'll be why Juve's gone out. That'll be the story. It's all Pogba's fault.
Oh wow! I just realized Real Madrid are the only Spanish team in the knockout stages of Champions
Wow,
League.
really?
Yeah, it just hit
Wow.
my head. Like it just popped up in my head when I was going through the table. Yeah, just to round up, like Ajax, they're also going into the Europa League,
Yeah. Um.
and
Atletico
then there's
Bilbao.
like Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah, Leverkusen. Yeah.
That was a fun group. Porto topped the group. Club Brugge. I don't think anybody saw them past the group stages.
No.
Yeah, they're advancing to the round of 16. Bayer Leverkusen with Xavi Alonso, not Xavi.
Yeah, but he's only just taken over
Yeah.
there, so can't really
I
blame
don't
him.
know, but I don't even think it was the right decision to sack the previous manager. I don't agree
No,
with that decision.
no, it was a strange one.
Yeah,
So,
it's
but
very strange in Germany. You can have like 5 poor games and you're already out of the job, regardless of what happened in the previous 35.
the things in Germany it's weird because normally they're renowned for being less trigger happy, aren't they? It's normally the Italians.
No, but in the past 2 3 seasons, there has been a lot of manager merry-go.
Hmm. Oh,
They get the sack, they get appointed someone somewhere else, whatever. Barcelona, naturally, they're also out of the group stages and dropping into Europa League.
um,
Sporting Lisbon, maybe,
yeah. Sport.
maybe we, maybe
What?
we draw,
Hang on.
maybe we draw our way into Sporting Lisbon, and then Ronaldo
Uh,
can
hang on.
have his final
Hang on.
hurrah.
There's no sport in Lisbon. It's Sporting Club de Portugal.
No, it's written as Sporting Lisbon over on the BBC website. I'm just
It should be
reading from it.
Sporting
I know
CP.
it's yeah, I know
Lisbon
it's
isn't in their
Sporting
name at
CP.
all. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's no Lisbon in their name. It really annoys me when people call it Lisbon because it's like there's no
we've had
Lisbon
this
in their name.
conversation before. We've had this
Yeah,
conversation many times before. I know it's not Sporting Lisbon, but you know, like when like this, like people say like, "Look, I am your father," but that Freddie never said it. It's just like
Yeah.
you say it enough times, and then it just manifests itself to
yeah.
being
Like
the truth.
Who were
James
the,
James Bond
who
never
were
had
the
to
other
say.
stretches you said was
Sorry,
coming in?
sorry.
Coming, new managers coming in. The new Wolves lad. New Wolves lads coming in as the
Lopetegui,
manager for Wolves.
hopefully.
Yeah, Julian Lopetegui.
Yeah, ex-Spain manager. He was
No,
manager of the.
ex Sevilla.
Yeah, but he was manager of the national team because he turned down Wolves before to take the Spanish national job. He was all lined
When?
up to take over Wolves. I think it was before Nuno did. I think, if I
Oh,
remember
maybe.
correctly. It was a long time
No,
ago.
it should be. Yeah,
He
it should be
turned them.
after.
He
No, it
literally.
can't.
He
The
was literally lined up.
timeline doesn't match
I don't know. He
because
was lined up
Nuno
to
take
take
over.
over.
Nuno took over at when Wolves were in Championship.
Yeah. I don't know. But anyway, I just know that he was lined up to take over and he turned it down because the Spanish national team came in for him. He also turned them down recently at the beginning of this, after Large got sacked. He was the first person they approached and he said no. So they've gone back to him because he didn't like the way they were. From what I can gather, I know there's been a lot of stories about family being ill and stuff like that. But from what I can gather, he just turned it down because he didn't want it under the conditions. Because he didn't want the players being bought and sold and out from under him like he had at Sevilla. So, he wanted to pick the players and stuff.
And while we're at it, RB Salzburg are also into the Europa League from Champions League. Shakhtar Donetsk and Sevilla. Sevilla are
Sevilla
so yeah, they're gonna win the Europa League this season.
again. for the 400th
Yeah, naturally.
time. It just seems like every time they're in it, they can win it, even when they don't
Yeah.
deserve to. No, I don't know, because they haven't got Unai Emery in charge. It seemed to be a lucky combination, those two, didn't it?
Lopetegui won the Europa League as well. Don't forget with Sevilla.
Yeah, it was a joke, because Emery's gone to Villa, and we're talking about what they got.
Oh shit, we actually didn't talk about him.
Yeah, I know. That's why I brought him in.
Uh,
Already, I was trying to segue him in there because we never mentioned him. We talked about Gerrard going, but we never mentioned Emery taking over. So because from what I remember of Emery, he couldn't organise a defence to save his life. He's very good at the attack. It's a bit like Marco Silva. Very good at getting the players to play football. Very good at getting them attacking, but the defensive organisation was just non-existent. And that's why they're so inconsistent, I thought. So I don't know if anything's changed in the last couple of years, but that's what I remember. So I can't see.
Do you think he'll do a good job, Trish? Do you think he'll do a good job in
manager? I'm not convinced he's good enough for the Premier League.
No.
Not without, because
he didn't pull up any trees this Arsenal, did he? To be fair.
But to be fair, but he wasn't he following Wenger?
Yeah, he was.
To be fair.
It's not an easy exercise.
Isn't it? It was a bit like whoever followed Fergie at Man United. It's mission impossible. They were never going to succeed.
And you cannot judge anybody's ability to organize a defense by just their time at Arsenal during that period, because they had like a defense that was non-existent. I'm not saying he's a great organizer of defense, but he didn't have the tools to play with either.
I just remember the same at Sevilla. They were always very disorganised defensively, if I remember correctly. But I might be thinking of somebody else actually, when I'm thinking about his time at Arsenal. You're right. You make a fair point there.
Yeah, and also
what do you think about the appointments of Michael Carrick, Trish? That's Middlesbrough.
That's one of those where this will be where we'll find out, because he's got no experience, has he?
No. I thought it was a strange one myself from Middlesbrough, but I wish him well, of course. But
he's a local lad.
I think he's a nice fella, but he's a nice enough fella as well.
He doesn't seem inspirational, does he, as a person? You know what I mean? Like Klopp, you can see why players want to die for him, run their hearts out for him. You can see it, and there's others as well. Fergie was another one. He knew how to get his players, how to make them, follow his instructions and that, and want to play for him and that. But I don't know, he just doesn't strike me as having that kind of inspiration about him. He just seems a bit like, I'm trying to think of the word. He just doesn't seem to have enough of a personality.
Yeah, no. But you never know with managers, do you? Ones who you'd expect to do well don't. Some people come in like, like Potter hasn't really got the best outgoing personality, but he does well with teams, and I think he's doing not too bad a job at Chelsea. So you can't really tell with the personality of them until they settle down and give them a try, I suppose.
Yeah, Potter's not about inspirational personality, so I mean, Carrick might be similar when he goes in. He might be.
Yeah.
You're right. You make a good point there.
Yeah, he's got a good ground on it when he's at United and that, hasn't he? So maybe he can transfer that to Borough, and he might be a good sign, because they were going nowhere. Where they were going absolutely nowhere. So they had to change. So why not Carrick? Why not give him a chance?
Do you think so? I don't think he need to change. I think he was doing. I think it's one of those where you could have waited and seen.
Yeah.
I think Chris Wilder.
But they must see something in him. Yeah, yeah.
I just think they were a bit, they jumped in a bit quick. Could have kept Chris Wilder in charge there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's,
He's done great at United, Sheffield United, but he hasn't
there was
done much
obviously
since he left there, has he, to be
there's
fair?
obviously problems behind the scenes because Steve Gibson's not one for making quick changes.
No, no.
Yeah, he did do really well at
No, but it'll
Sheffield
be
United.
interesting to see what he does.
Which reminds, while we're talking about Sheffield United, I mean, we did speak about it before this, so so I know you know what I'm talking about. But just thinking, we might as well throw this in now. While we're talking, the social media, Sheffield United's boss Paul Eckenbaum, he said that they beat West Brom at the weekend because they were helped by social media posts that the club's official channels have made. He said what he said
Yeah,
basically is that they didn't have a clue how the new manager Carlos Corberán would set them out. They were really unsure how to set up to face them, and then they were having a look. They've got someone who scours social media for them. Just a member of staff whose job purely is to look through social media, and he found a couple of things. Like, they didn't say what it was, but there's video footage of the training session, and there's a photograph they posted of Carlos Corberán, and he's holding a piece of paper which is like got tactical, got a full tactical write-up on it basically, and so they could have got it from that, and they're saying they used the information on social media to set up their team for the game, like. But what I was thinking is,
imagine that's not the first time that's happened.
well, last season they found he was saying they found out an important player for the opposition wouldn't be facing them at the weekend because his wife had posted on social media about them being on holiday for the weekend, so they knew he wasn't going to be in
It's
to play
amazing,
the
isn't
game.
it?
Yeah, but you've got to wonder. Do these clubs not have somewhere monitoring the social media? Do they not stop this kind of thing happening? I mean, some of this stuff is coming on their official channel, so should they not
Yeah,
be
yeah.
more careful of what they post up? Or
I think they've got to be more careful. I think it's a case of football, social media now, and it doesn't surprise me in the slightest that things are getting leaked out because they make public knowledge, and it doesn't seem right. You think they would get a grip of it and say there's no social media about the match or players to be either you get fined or suspended from the club or whatever, because it's just not right. You can't give teams an advantage by knowing how they're going to set up and how they're going to play and who's going to be playing. I think that's totally wrong.
I don't know. Like I was saying to Seamus before, Liverpool used to play. They played the same system under Klopp, week in, week out, and he never changed. You never needed to change it. Now they've suddenly started changing it, and they're doing worse. I mean, but teams knew what they were going to be facing. They just couldn't deal with it. Surely it shouldn't matter at the end of the day.
You'd think it wouldn't matter, but you can't give any advantage to your opposition, really. And if you know who they're playing and how they're going to play, if you've got the tactics board on video or whatever, and you know how they're going to set up, it surely gives you a bit of an advantage against them. To know that certain players aren't playing or that they're going to set up in a certain way that you could combat. I think it's an advantage that you shouldn't be wanting to give your opponents. I'm not saying you're going to stop it completely, because you can't. But I think players have a duty to the club to hold things back like that. Like you say about someone going on holiday, and you know that player's not going to be playing.
Yeah, that kind
of.
I
think that's totally wrong.
Yeah, that's really how did that get through? Why did she even post about it? I mean, you're just thinking, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. I think there'd be comebacks there. I think he's got to be, talked to and say you can't have them sorts of things happening. I wouldn't like it if an Everton player said he's going away for the weekend, so I won't be playing. You know what? It's just wrong for me. But that's social media for you.
What do you think, Seamus? Do you think they should stop them playing? Stop them.
Yeah, obviously the club should look at those things. If you don't want to publicly announce players missing, publicly reveal the players like doing a particular training setup, then you should be more aware of the things because like in this day and age, teams spend so many hours, so much funds on things like data analysis, video analysis, things like that. It's like
Yeah,
even like we can say like just 1% can make a huge difference for Liverpool or for Manchester United or for Everton. Like maybe just knowing that a certain player is missing, or maybe just knowing that team is gonna line up in a certain position or certain setup, that can make a huge difference.
I think so too. So you're right.
Yeah, and like we talked about it before as well, mentally as well. If like you already know, like 2 days before the game, that let's say you're playing PSG, let's say you're playing PSG, and you already know that Mbappe and Messi are out injured. It's gonna give you an uplift anyways.
True.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I, but then as fans, we want to know what's going on with our team. So shouldn't they have because the club's owned by the fans. At the end of the day, it is about the fans. It should be. It doesn't exist without the
It should
fans.
be. Yeah.
Should do they not have an obligation to inform the fans of what's going on? As they are.
I don't think they do. How much they do, things pertaining to the club, but not tactics and not lineups. I think tactics and lineups should be should be free from social media. And I think you're giving a club an advantage, and as Deep said there, rightfully so. That 1% can make the difference. If you're gonna, if say Liverpool have got a weak in midfield and Fabinho is not playing for whatever reason, and you say, well, I'll put another man in midfield to combat, who comes in, might be Harvey Elliott coming in for him or whatever. And I think it can be a definite advantage if you know the side that's getting put out against you. I think you can set your team up to play a different style.
Do you remember when Liverpool and the Brendan Rodgers were having the team sheet was being leaked
Oh
on
yes,
social media every week, and they couldn't figure out what was going on? That's hilarious. Brendan Rodgers couldn't figure out what was happening. How did they know what his team was when he hadn't told anyone? And it was simple because he was making them wear different coloured bibs. They knew exactly who was playing because they were all in the same. They had the 11 were all in one colour bib when they were doing training matches. And he couldn't figure out how this kept getting leaked out. And all it was someone was watching over the wall at Melwood.
Standing on a bin,
Yeah, that was
watching
it
the
exactly.
training.
Because Gerard Houllier used to do that. Before he was, before he became a manager, that was what he did when he was because he lived in Liverpool, didn't he? As a teacher,
Yeah,
he was an English teacher, wasn't he? And he was,
yeah.
he lived in Liverpool for a while, and he used to go and watch the training at Melwood, just stand on a bin in someone's backyard. So his friend's backyard it was to watch the training. But yeah, I mean. So this guy, it obviously does. Teams do get bothered by it.
yeah, and I'm like
Yeah.
finally like I think if the announcement of any sort is gonna happen, it should be happening from the team. Like when you said and like Sheffield United figured out one of their opposition player was not gonna play through their wife's social media, it shouldn't be happening like that.
No, I don't think it should either. I'm with you.
Yeah, like you say, fans have the right to know. Yeah, but it should be the clubs that are putting the news out, not by a relative
Yeah.
or girlfriend or whatever.
I've got
Else.
to
It
be
should be
honest.
it should be through an official channel.
Yeah, I don't like social media, and I don't. I personally would. I'd be quite
No.
happy if they'd take them all off social media and that. And they're all moaning about the abuse they take. Well,
Yeah.
then don't fucking use it. Simple as that. If they're not going to do anything
Yeah.
about it,
Exactly.
get off it.
Yeah, maybe
Exactly.
maybe at least Elon Musk is
Needing it.
gonna help sort it out now.
Oh Christ, yeah. I'm sure he will. He's one of the most abusive people on in Twitter, isn't he? So it's it's kind of like well, yeah, it's kind of worrying him being in charge. Yeah, I don't really like that bloke.
Has it
He's
actually synced in?
he's isn't he's sacking like half the staff and that, isn't it? That'll really help.
Didn't he just fire someone
Yeah.
live on air on Joe Rogan's podcast?
Yeah, I mean but he's literally said half the staff are going. It's
Yeah.
he's upping the price of the thing.
Who cares? Who cares? Do it. I'm saying do it. If I can't have it, you should do it.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
Either give me the blue tick or you up the price for it.
yeah, I don't really care one way or the other, but I just think if you these players they're all moaning about the abuse they're taking, but they carry on using it. If you don't like it, if you don't
Yeah.
like what's happening, leave it. And why not set up your own social media where it's monitored and people can deal with the abuse, and then you can stop moaning about it, can't you? Do something,
Yeah.
do something about it. Don't just sit there and complain and carry on using it as normal. Get off it.
No, it's like it's a favorite quote of mine from House MD. Like people say that time changes things. No, doing things changes things. Not doing anything keeps things the same. You
Exactly.
can't just say, oh,
Yeah.
you can't just go crying about and doing nothing. If you do nothing, then nothing changes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very much so, Deep.
Yeah.
Right. Who's going to win the Premier League? That's what I want to know.
I thought. Oh no, Everton haven't won it this year. Then
No, they've only
No, we're
won
not.
the. No, Everton have only won the.
they've won a
We
cup,
won
haven't
one.
they? Yeah,
Yeah,
they've won a cup.
we won 0-0 against Liverpool.
Yeah, yeah. The we didn't lose to Liverpool Cup. They've won this season already. So
Yeah, we've got that one. We've still got that one. But I think it's going to be very interesting the European places because Liverpool are on the verge of it. I think they're going to come good, but I don't think it's going to be an easy ride for them to get into the top four. I still expect them to do it, but I don't think it's going to be easy.
do you know what? I think that it's impossible to tell because the World Cup's going to mess everything. It's going to be such a race
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah,
And there's so many
I
games
agree
in
with
such
that,
short
Chris, yeah.
period of time. It's going to favour, for starters, Man City are favourites, easy favourites. They'll easy with it because they're the only team
Yeah.
with a squad that's strong
They will
enough
win it.
to cope with with a lot of games in a short period of time. So
But
believe,
I think
Yeah,
Man City are favorite because the only team that is close to them in terms of points, in terms of consistently getting the result is Arsenal, and Arsenal have a paper thin squad.
yeah,
If let's say it was
yeah,
Chelsea
exactly.
or
That's
it
what I'm
was
saying.
Liverpool, then you would say maybe they can go the distance with them. But I don't see Arsenal going the distance.
No, it's like last season. There's no way City were going to lose it. It was a condensed season. There was a lot of games, and they're the only team that can replace their. When a first team player's out, they've got a player of the equal quality pretty
yeah,
much to come in. So they've always got an advantage when it's a short season. When it's a full season, when we go back to a normal season, that advantage is lessened slightly. So other teams
Yeah,
are
City have
but they've got a
like
massive
City have a
squad.
very good City have a very good 18, 19 players
Hmm.
core, and
Yeah,
for most of the other teams it's 15.
yeah,
I would
exactly.
say.
At best, 15.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, and other teams have like 23, 25 even first team players. No, cities operate at around 20. I would say.
Yeah, but you don't need
But
20.
yeah. My point being the same. But they have the best 20 players.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what you need. That's where Liverpool have gone. That's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
when people say about what a great job Martin Edwards did, I always
Oh, and
look
by
at it
the
and
way,
say,
he's been
I
linked
think
to
he's
Man
not.
United.
Yeah, I always think he's
That's
the
it.
one that's put Liverpool in salary trouble. The reason why they can't spend is because their salaries are massive.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? They've got much higher salary than almost anybody in the league. With the smaller, yet they've got a smaller group of actual first team players because players on the fringes are being paid like first team players. You know, ones that are sat on the bench. They've got a bigger squad than City by a much bigger. You know, they've got one of the biggest squads in the Premier League. Again, that's down to him because he's signed players on big salaries that they can't. You know, we can't get rid of. I don't
Yeah,
think
that is the
yeah,
issue.
yeah,
I don't think he did a good job. I think he's massively over the analysis and the scouts. Excellent work, but that's not him. He's just negotiating the deals, and he's overpaid players like Oxlade-Chamberlain, Naby Keita. He could have got them on much lower wages. You know, and
yeah.
then we wouldn't be stuck with them. You know, yeah. Anyway, so, but that's not. We're not here
Yeah,
to talk
as
about that.
a Man
I was,
United fan, I can agree.
Yeah,
I can agree. Like paying 80,000 to a squad player, it's fine for Liverpool. It's fine for Manchester United.
mm,
The issue comes when you have to actually sell them on.
yeah. What you shouldn't really be paying them that
yeah,
much anyway when they're a squad player. They just
No,
shouldn't be.
I'm saying
But we've got.
financially, financially the club can afford it, but realistically, it's a stupid decision.
Well, no, because it puts straight for a club like for Liverpool with a situation where they're spending money on a new, on the stadium improvements and that. It limits the amount they can then spend on players because the salaries are so
yeah,
high. They're paying Naby Keita over £100,000 a week for what? He's never fucking turned up once. You know, it's just the biggest waste of wages. Oxlade Chamberlain's on 100,000 plus as well. You just can't keep doing. You know, you can't have these. That's money that could be spent on buying a player. If you could have but you can't offload them. You're
yeah,
stuck with them till their contracts expire, and that's where you've got the problems. Because you've got less spending power available to the coach, like because it's all tied up in wages. And
yeah. I was having a discussion with the Liverpool lads saying exactly the same. They're saying, why aren't we buying players for one of the richest clubs, which you're not like, but they were saying one of the richest clubs, and we should be
we
able to
do earn
buy.
big money, but like it's all tied up.
Yeah, of course it is, yeah. But if your wages are that high, you're going to have less to spend on players because people coming in who are going to want top dollar as well.
Exactly.
So it's just exasperating that situation. And you can't afford to bring players in who want this big. Talking about Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham is going to cost upwards to 250 million, I think. I don't think
Yeah,
Liverpool
but
will get him. Simply because of the finances. And he's going to want, what, 200,000 a week, 300,000 a week, something in that region, I'd imagine.
no, he's only.
I think he will.
He's not on big money, at Borussia Dortmund. He's not on.
No, he's not at Dortmund. But if his agent gets his way, I don't know who is his agent, by the way. But he'll want him to be one of the highest players at the club.
If his agent had got his way, he'd have already moved this summer, but he stayed. I don't think the lad's got his head screwed on. He's not about money. He's not looking for
No,
money.
but Chris, come on. He may not make the decision based solely on money, but you won't be getting him for 100k. It's not gonna happen.
No, it's not going to happen. I don't.
Yeah, he might choose Liverpool. He might choose Liverpool over Man United, who will be offering him more money, or he might choose Man City over Real Madrid, who offer him bigger wage. But he's not gonna be on a solitary wage either.
Yeah, no. My point is that isn't really that much of an issue when you're playing someone like him extra. That's fine, because he's worth it. You know what I mean? When you're paying a top class player, like the problem is when you're paying players like the fringe players big money. You pay the Salahs and the Jude Bellinghams, but that's what they do. Even City are doing that with De Bruyne, and you do it with those, the big star names, the players that make the difference for you. It's the problem comes when you've got lots of players on a similar salary at the lower end. This was the problem Arsenal found as well. This is where it all went wrong for them. It's because they had the same issue. That's why they suddenly, remember they stopped spending money. That's because they had a very similar issue where they didn't have their top players being paid massively more than the rest. And it should be something for the other players to aim at, not something they just get, if you see what I mean. You bring them in.
You get that point, and that's a very fair point.
Yeah, they're on a lower wage because they're not, when you're Terry Henry or Mohamed Salah or someone like that, you deserve to be paid big money because you proved yourself over years. You're a quality player. Lionel Messi, you can understand him being paid a big wage. Okay, the wage he's getting is obscene, but he deserves, he does deserve to be paid more than, say, what's his face that's just signed for you? Do you know what I mean?
You being
The
who?
midfielder you just signed from
Casemiro?
PSG. No,
Gana Gay.
Yeah,
Idris
Gana
Gana
Gay.
Gay.
You can see
I
why.
thought you were talking to me.
Yeah, sorry, I should have made clear I was talking to Billy. You can see why he was paid less than like Messi and Mbappe. He wouldn't expect to be paid anything like the same. The problem comes when teams like Arsenal and Liverpool, what they do is they pay these players instead of paying them the little, a massive amount less because, well, they're not the same level, are they? Let's be honest. So they're not.
No, and I can see your point there.
Yeah, and that's where the problem.
My problem is that when you bring big players in on big money, all clubs this, by the way, you're going to get, and I'm talking about extortionate money, over 100, 150,000, whatever. You're going to get agents of the players who are performing well, coming in and saying, why isn't my player on nearly as much as player B? Do you know what I mean? And saying, we're doing well. Liverpool were on for the 4-timer last year, the quad. They were in 2 finals, they're in the league, and they won a cup. What's to stop an agent coming in and saying, why isn't my player on more money?
But that's the job of people like Edwards to say, to come around and say, yeah, but you've not earned that kind of money. That's why. Yes, you've been good, but you've not been world class. You've been good. So you're on, say you're on, he's on 50,000. You say to him, we're not going to argue you deserve a pay rise because you've been performing better, but you need to earn that, by performing at world class level to earn the kind of money they're on. So yeah, we'll give you a pay rise. We'll put you up to say 80,000. But like they just have to be strong. And if the player starts saying he wants to leave, we say, well, fine, because you're not that good that we can't replace you, and that's how it should be. You just replace those kinds.
See, the reason I was saying that is because of the Anthony Gordon situation at Everton, right? He is expecting to be offered £100,000 a week from next year, right? Because he got offered it at Chelsea. If he was going to go to Chelsea in the last transfer window, they offered him £100,000 a week, which Chelsea can afford to do.
Yeah.
Everton can't. Now, we'll let them settle in on one way. And can Everton afford to give a player of his stature, who's a young lad, he isn't on great money, he's on half-decent money, but, they're going to get players now coming to him and saying, well, if he's getting 100,000, I want somewhere near that. I'm performing to the same standard as what Anthony Gordon, because his standards aren't great. And I'm just wondering, is it, one of these things where it goes round and round and causes unrest at clubs that players are more than other players who are doing a similar job? I don't know, it's a tricky situation.
But I wouldn't give Anthony Gordon
Does that?
100,000 a
Oh,
week. That's what I'd be saying.
I'd saying exactly the same. I'd say you can go up
That's
the
where
door
it
before you get
starts.
100,000.
Yeah, you've got to perform better. You've got
Yeah,
to earn it. And that's where it goes wrong. There's too
yeah,
many clubs, they're too weak. And I say they're panicking about these players.
absolutely.
I'd just look at it and say, not being funny, lad, but we could get better than you anyway. You're not top
I
class.
would just
Yeah, yeah.
I would just tell him to get himself a gig in diving or some
Hmm.
shit because that's what he's better at.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you
Oh,
get.
Billy,
You can see.
you spent years chastising Salah. You spent years
Yeah, yeah.
making making
Oh,
fun of guys like
he was
Salah,
bad, but
Bruno. But come
he's
on,
yeah,
Anthony
absolutely.
Gordon takes the biscuit. Come on.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's right up there. He is right up there, to be honest with you. Him and Richarlison,
He makes
both
Grealish and
serial
Zaha look
divers.
no, but he makes Grealish and Zaha look half decent players.
That's going a bit far.
No, but come on.
No, he is terrible.
He's-
He is embarrassing. You
He is
expect better.
embarrassing.
And
Yeah,
this is
well,
the thing.
apparently.
When he's doing those kind of things, you'd have to say, well, I'm sorry, but like when you can't even stay on your feet, you can't even stand up, lad. How can we pay you £100,000 a week? I'm sorry.
Well, apparently Frank Lampard's had a word with him over it. Now, whether he'll change, we've got to see in the next, after Christmas probably, now because only 3 games to go. But you can't have that sort of behaviour. And it brings the game into disrepute for me. Like, same with Zaha, Grealish. There's a load of them. There's a load of them. There is.
Harry Kane.
But, yeah, absolutely, Harry Kane. But he doesn't get penalised because he's England captain. And that's not being bitter over Harry Kane. I think he's a marvellous player. But he does throw himself about and get decisions that no one else would get because he's England captain. And I really believe that. But
Yeah,
going back to the money side, I think Everton will be in trouble if they start lifting wages. They're already close to financial fair play rules.
exactly.
And they are going to be in trouble if other players come in who say, I've done more for the club than Gordon. And Gordon wants 100,000 and you're going to give him. Everton can't afford to give Anthony Gordon £100,000 a week.
Yeah, you got. I mean, you just can't. I mean, not in the position you're in.
No, absolutely not. And I'd fully back the club if they said, well, you can leave because you're not getting that sort of money. And I'd fully back the club, although, I think Gordon, has got potential. And that's all he's got, potential to be a very good player because he's got speed and he does work hard. But he's not an established player. You've got to be a seasoned international to get over 100,000 for me, or be in that bracket. And you've got to have done it over a certain period of time.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with you, Billy. But what the hell were we actually talking about, and how did we end up? How did we end up talking about Gordon for 10 minutes?
That is because I've completely forgotten what we started out talking.
What was the actual topic?
No, we were talking about wages, weren't we? We were talking about
no, we weren't talking about wages. That wasn't the issue. How did we get here?
Anyway, that's what.
Yeah, I remember. We were about to discuss who's gonna win the Premier League. That was the only thing you were interested in, Billy. So still City favorites for all of us.
Yeah, it's City, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. They can't be touched.
Not in a shortened season like this, unless they get absolutely crippled by serious injuries to players like. I mean, they've already started losing Haaland to injuries, but unless it happens to De Bruyne, he's the kid.
Yeah, but like firstly with Haaland, I'm just gonna say, I told you so. Secondly, he's gonna get a big rest during the World Cup because he's actually one of those players who's gonna go to the World Cup. I think that is another thing we have to factor when we make all sorts of predictions and conjectures and everything. Like some players are
He's
gonna
only
come back
missed a game and a
tired.
half, He's only missed a game and a half.
No, but
Alan.
he doesn't have a faultless injury record. You can check it during his
No,
time
he
at Tottenham
doesn't.
as well.
Haaland,
He
you're
get
talking
No,
about.
he doesn't.
Holland. Yeah, Holland gets a lot
Yeah,
of
Haaland.
he
Just
gets a lot
checking.
of niggly injuries.
Yeah, he does. He's always kicking, and they're
Yeah.
getting worse. That's the thing. I've seen someone saying he just needs a rest. He's played a lot of football and that, but I just think the fact that they're building up, he's getting rest, but he's coming back and he's picking up injuries again not so long afterwards. I think he's one of those that he's obviously just prone to them. It's niggles though, because he's quick.
Yeah, he
Players like
gets
that.
niggles. He doesn't get long-term injuries, and it's in a way it's better to get one long-term 20 games than to get niggly injuries again and again and again and again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that actually. Yeah. Sometimes a proper break. I mean, did Norway qualify for the World Cup? I don't think they did they? So he's going to
No.
get a break now.
Yeah, he's gonna get a break during
Yeah.
the World Cup. I think Salah is gonna get a break
Yeah,
as well. Yeah, maybe it's a blessing in disguise for some of these players. They're
Yeah.
gonna get a proper rest.
Yeah.
Salah needs it. He definitely needs to clear his head.
Or maybe he's just gonna be sat home watching Mane and
Yeah.
all the players play at the World Cup, and he's gonna just cry himself to tears. Maybe it's just gonna make him even more sad.
But,
That's true.
talking about Salah there, he's still scoring goals, isn't he? He's been playing bloody awful, but he's still scoring goals.
Yeah, but
just
he's been
unstoppable,
missing more.
he is.
He's been missing more chances as well, like
A lot of
easier chances.
A lot of the problems come with the tactical changes that have been made. I mean, the way they're playing now is just not working. You can see the games where they go back to the old school high press, all out attack.
Yeah.
The proper Klopp way. We look fine. We win them. We beat City. We play really well when we go back to it. But most of the time we're just not playing like that. Is
it just not sustainable, Tris, over that longer period? Is that why they changed it?
No, that's what they've been led. They've been. That's what the thinking is behind the change. But I disagree. I don't think it's a problem. I think the problem is the minute you see. This is what I've been trying to say on the site. If you start changing the way you play for certain games, which is what we've been doing, then you start giving them less importance. And so the mindset changes. Liverpool used to be, every time it was the next game is the most important, and that's why it was like a machine. City are doing exactly the same with the Pep Guardiola. He doesn't say the next game's more important. He makes changes, don't get me wrong, but he says, the next game is the most important one. It's always about the next game. He wants the team to win every game. He doesn't have any of this, where some games are seen as easier than others. He's obsessive and he wants to win every game, and that's why they're like a machine. They keep rolling on and rolling on. Liverpool were like that under Klopp in the early days. Every game was like the same importance. Now he's starting to make changes because it just doesn't work. The minute you start doing that, your players start thinking, well, this game isn't as important. You know what I mean? Because we're playing a different system. Yeah. We're not playing to our strengths. So this game isn't as important. And so mentally, they're not as focused. Not for it. The crowd isn't as up for it as well. Because it's not a big game. And you need the players to come out focused when it's not as big a game, rather than less focused. You need them more focused, if anything. And it's become a problem.
Yeah, I can see that.
For me, I don't think it does. I don't think the legs can't handle it. I think the legs can handle it. You just need to start rotating players when they're tired. But you need to put the best possible.
Because Liverpool of late seem to be playing a lot of sideways and backward patterns. It's slower. It's a noticeably slower pace of game to what they used to play. Now, is that a definite tactic, or is that the players?
Yeah,
is it the tactics?
Pep Linders wants to play. This is the style that Pep Linders wants to play. This is how he thinks it should be. This is what he did when he was at oh shit.
NSC Nijmegen.
Yeah, Nijmegen. Yeah, NEC Nijmegen. Yeah, this is what he did. This is how he thinks football should be played. It's not, in my opinion. I don't think it works. It's too slow. It allows teams to organise, get back and defend. I mean, Liverpool talk about the way Liverpool used to play was the same as what Klopp wants to play. We used to call it closing down rather than pressing. Try and win it back. If you don't win it back, then you drop off and defend. But you always try and win it back early. That's always been the way. And when you win it back early, when you win it high up the pitch, you counter. You always look to counter. If you win it back in a position where you can counter, you always look to counter. That's always been the way they played. They passed it around only when the other team had time to get back and get organised. Then you pass it around to pull them out of position. But we're now doing less counter-attacking, and I don't understand it, because that should be the key. That's when most goals are scored, when you catch a team out on the counter. That's when the teams are most disorganised and most vulnerable. Straight after a goal, and when you catch them on a counter. You know what I mean? That's when you take the ball off them high up the pitch, you've got them in trouble. We're not even pressing them. That's the problem. Is the pressure's gone.
I can remember back to Ian Rush being the first one that I can remember being a forward who chased around like a midfielder. He never stood there. He'd come back and won the ball.
Apparently, Billy Little used to do it as well. So, it's
bit up the show for me, Billy Little.
Yeah, I didn't watch him, but I'm just going on what's been said. What's written about him.
Yeah.
He was a similar type of thing.
Yeah, Rushy was the first one. I can remember.
Yeah, I mean it's the way.
But they seem to have took the foot off the gas.
And that is a real issue for me, and that's what's gone wrong. They're trying to be too technical, and the players aren't there. We're not, we've not got We're not got the players. See, that's what went wrong with Barcelona when they stopped dominating in Spain. Is when they stopped playing the high octane play under Pep. And they became passing for passing's sake, because they lost the way, and I think that's what we're doing now. I want to get I'd be quite happy to if Pep Linders doesn't want to step down and move to bring in another number 2 instead. Get rid of him and bring in another number 2, but it needs a different assistant. I think he's got too big for his boots.
Yeah. No, hearing you talk, Chris, I just wonder why did anybody see the need to change? Because, like they say,
I don't get it.
Why fix something that ain't broke? Like you can't aspire to be. Yeah, you can't look at Man City and aspire to be like them. You can't look at Guardiola and aspire to be like him, because Klopp had a proven, like, it's not like even he had a fluky season one somewhere and then he's dining on it. Either he had a tried and trusted method. He had a proven method of success. There are a million ways of skinning a cat. Just because you do it one way doesn't mean that's the only right way.
But you were constantly reading in the papers and in the, how it was that every injury was blamed on Klopp's high octane start. Every time they didn't get a win, it was always
if Klopp,
you were always hearing people saying, the pundits and the media and everybody was always saying, it's because the legs are gone. They can't handle it. There's too many, So he's constantly being told.
Oh, mate, hey, mate, come on. If Klopp is, if that is what influenced Klopp, if that is why it created doubt in his mind, then maybe he isn't the man I thought he was, and maybe he doesn't deserve the freedom of the city either.
I'm sorry, but if you're not influencing you when you've got your assistant in your ear saying the same thing as well, and all the staff at the all the medical staff are saying it's too much, you need to say, because the season's shorter than that,
But no, come on, that's just excuses. That's just conjecture. I think it's just
excuses at all. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's just the way it is. If you're constantly told something, you're constantly getting it in your ear, eventually it's going to affect you, especially when you just miss out. And then you have the thing that changed it though for me was when all the centre backs went out injured. That's what caused. That's when it started to go. They started to think we need to look at lessening the injuries.
Yeah, that might have. You can
That's
say
what
that created.
that's what
Yeah, you can
started
say
the
you
issue.
can say that. Yeah, you can say that. But to counter all the arguments that were made against his methods, Klopp could have just pointed them towards the Champions League and their first ever Premier League trophies.
I know. I agree with you. I think it shouldn't have been changed. I think it's a mistake, and shouldn't have changed it. But I can understand why they're thinking they need to back off a bit. It's just I wouldn't do it. I think they're making a mistake, and they need to go
How
back to
long?
where it is, where
Yeah,
it
how
was.
long has Pep actually been at Liverpool as a number two?
Well, he replaced when
Buvac, I know.
yeah.
When
So
was it?
he's
When
stepped
was
up.
it?
So he's been in Klopp's here for like
5 years, I think,
5 years.
somewhere around
Yeah,
that.
it's before they won before they won the Premier League at least. But
No,
he's
it's
getting.
before. I think it's before Champions League.
And you've got to remember that Klopp's been trying to take less, trying to step back a little bit to lengthen his time in the game. You know what I mean? Because to keep his wife happy and the family, and lessen the stress on him. So he's been trying to delegate more to Pep, give him more control. And he's clearly.
And that's a mistake. Is
Well,
that a mistake,
he's
Chris?
yeah, he's
No,
clearly
I
not
think it's
right.
time for change. I don't even think it's a mistake as such. I think it's just time for change. You can look at Fergie's time at
Yeah,
Man United.
yeah,
Like
he
every 3-4 years, you need a change.
yeah.
Either you have to go, or the people around you have to be reshuffled. Maybe one or two guys have to get the boot, and
Yeah,
someone else has to come in with a different perspective, if nothing else.
I would get rid of him anyway because he's so far up his own arse now. I mean, releasing that book.
Hey Billy, do you remember there was a time when Chris was pro Pep Linders taking over from Klopp, and, and, and
Yeah,
Chris can't
yeah.
even, and
Everyone
Chris
was,
can't,
by the
yeah,
way.
yeah, and Chris can't even deny it because someone actually came up with a
Yeah,
post
but
he
if you
made.
read what I said, it's as things stand. It was
Oh,
always
don't get technical,
no, but it was
and don't try to
it
lawyer
was
yourself
always
out
no,
of
no,
this.
no. What I'm saying is, it was always that I wanted Potter, but I didn't think he was
No,
in a
no, no, no,
position to
no, no, no,
step up.
Chris. I will say, like, it was Nagelsmann who
Yeah,
all
I
of us
love
were in
Nagelsmann. Yeah,
favor of. Then it was before Potter, there was someone else, and then there's Potter.
oh,
Yeah, I know. Like there is like
yeah.
it's not
It's
your first choice, first
he's
idea.
never been first choice, and now he's gone down because he's shown he's simply not the right man for the job. His attitude,
I think it's a bit of a case with like we talked about Steven Gerrard. Like maybe he's just a good coach
Yeah.
and not good enough to be the head honcho himself.
oh, he's definitely not the. He's
Well,
definitely not.
if I can go back a bit further than that, and putting it on the Everton perspective, I remember when Howard Kendall was coming to the end of
Yeah,
his time, and Calvin Harvey took over, and everyone was saying, makes no difference about Kendall going, because Harvey's the best number two in the league at the time, and we'll be okay. And we weren't okay, because there's a difference between a number two and a number one.
oh,
There
massive.
really is. And and Colin Harvey, as good as a number two he was, couldn't step up and be the main man at Everton. And everyone was saying, oh, it's all right if Kendall goes, and it wasn't. And that's happening, I think, now possibly with Liverpool. The Pep is having too much to say and influence them decide, whereas I think it's Klopp now to put a stamp on the thing and say, we're going back to the winning ways, which is the high press and coming out and scaring teams. That team frightened of you, which they have done for 4 or 5 years. People have been terrified to go to Anfield and all play Liverpool, and they're not now.
Oh,
And it just doesn't suit. Like it doesn't suit a club team.
no, it doesn't.
Just doesn't suit a club team
No,
to
it doesn't.
be lacking in
Just
energy.
walks
That is energy is the most important thing. Dynamism, energy. That is what you associated with
Yeah, yeah.
clubs. Dortmund team, his Mainz team, all his teams up till now. But now it's just like lethargic most of the time, labored.
Yeah, it's not the way they
Yeah.
should
This
be.
season, yeah. Well, they changed the two-horse race into a one-horse race only because they're the only ones who could live with City. And at the moment, they can't live with them. So it's a one-horse race, isn't it? I think at the moment.
Yeah,
Do you think?
But
Do you think the era has
there's no
finally
saying
come to
Liverpool
an end?
can't get back to that. Maybe. But
Yeah, someone.
I think Liverpool is still going to be a good side after the break. But
Oh,
they're out of the league as far as I'm concerned. They're out of winning the league.
a wise Dutchman, a wise bald Dutchman did proclaim that eras are meant to end. So maybe he is very wise.
I don't know who
Who was
you
the
could
bald
be.
Dutchman?
I know who you mean. I know who you're saying, but I'm just like
Oh, Billy, there
gonna
is
let
only
you
one
say it.
wise bald Dutchman.
No, there probably isn't any, but we'll let you have it.
Maybe he just saw into the future. Maybe he has a crystal ball.
I'm pretty. I mean, it's true. Eras do come to an end, but I don't think Liverpool are at that point. I think the issue is they need to sort out the way they're playing.
I think the team has gotten a bit stale. I know there's been an attempt to rejuvenate and
Mm,
re-
they're not.
revolution. No, evolution is being taken, but I'm not just saying the playing stuff. I'm saying the coaches and everything.
I think the
Most of the things
coaches
have
is the
remained
problem.
same.
The
Yeah,
coaches
most
is
of the
the
things
issue.
have remained the same.
Yeah,
Maybe we still have one or two new faces in the playing 11, one or two new faces in the supporting staff, and then
yeah.
maybe
I
who
think
knows, Liverpool will be back to challenging
it's the coaching staff
Man
that's
City
the issue
again.
for me. I think if they'd be fine.
No, like it's easy to say you need a midfield. That's the only one place where you can say definitely you need an upgrade.
Hmm. Hmm. Even there, it's not so bad as
Yeah, it's
people
not
make
like
out.
horrendous. Like yeah, you can see like that is the one position that is in need of, if nothing else, then just rejuvenation. But
Well, Fabinho's gone right off the boil, hasn't he? To what he was.
But he's
He's
not.
gone right off the boil.
But we're not playing
He's
a way
always
that
been the
suits
main
him.
man for me in midfield.
I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm
because
saying. He's gone off the boil.
without the press, he's no longer sweeping up behind the pressing team. He's now they're running straight at him. With nobody, nothing, no work rate in front of him, nobody protecting the. He's having to do everything. He's having to be everywhere, and
Yeah.
it's just not. It's impossible for him. You need
yeah,
the
but then the
press.
blame has to go to the coaching staff for
Yeah,
trying to
exactly.
play with like yeah,
That's the issue.
it
That
would
is
be
the
like
issue.
Pep Guardiola coming over at City and then instead of getting a new goalkeeper who is comfortable with the ball at his feet, if he had persevered with who was it, Johan,
Yeah, Joe Hart.
Joe Hart.
it would be a similar thing. Like you have a player who doesn't suit the style of play you want, but you're still playing that way. A bit like David De Gea at Man United.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
exactly. That's what we're doing wrong.
there will be certain issues, whatever you want to say. There will be attributes that just don't fit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you highlight his weaknesses and then the performance level will drop. And when confidence is down, even the positive things they just don't
Yeah,
come out
exactly.
as such.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening with Fabinho. He's being used in a way that doesn't suit him. You look at him; he had a much better performance against Napoli on Tuesday night, was it? Yeah, Tuesday night. He was much better
Yeah.
because they were playing a press, and not a full press, not a good press, but it was at least they were attempting to press them and harry them in midfield rather than just letting them run straight through. You can't play, you
Well,
can't just bring in play, expect players to just change the way they've played and the way that suits them, and expect them to still perform to the same level. It just
no. But is that Is that up to Klopp to change things?
Yeah.
Is it up to Klopp to say, listen, this is not working. I want to go back to what we've done. And dismiss Linda's opinions of playing around with the ball and playing backwards, sideways passing at a slow tempo. Is it up to Klopp to say, listen, this isn't working. We're going to do this, and never mind what you say. You're the number 2. You're not the number 1. I'll get another number 2 if you can't produce the goods. Is it time for them to say that?
Yes, definitely. He should have done it a while ago.
Yeah, but there must be some introspection coming from Jurgen Klopp as well, because he's seen his team go to Rangers, absolutely thump them. He's seen his team play against Manchester City and come out victorious, and then his team can't even merit a win against Nottingham Forest or Leeds United, both at home.
And they were
only Leeds at home. Forest was away. Yeah, but
but yeah, you can't get those results where. I mean, they were terrible results. They weren't, because the performances were so poor. It's not even like you could say, yeah, but the other team didn't deserve to win, and we were, robbed by VAR.
Robbed by VAR.
Or excuses. They were just poor performances.